everybody, JC here with another T&I toy review, and today's review is in association with MarvelousNews.com, your #1 news source for everything Marvel. And today we're going to take a look at the new Marvel Infinite Series 3 1/4 inch Hyperion figure. Now this is the final new figure in Hasbro's first wave of this Infinite Series line. We previously looked at the Wasp, Grim Reaper, and the Indestructible Hulk. There are two other figures in this first wave, Iron Man and Captain America, but both of those are basically just re-releases of previous Marvel Universe figures. And so this figure, like all the other figures in the Infinite series, comes packaged in this very generic card back. You've got black and some grayish colors on the background. You've got the big Marvel Infinite Series logo up at the top, and then underneath that you have some Avengers icons with Thor's hammer, Cap's shield, star, Iron Man's helmet, and Hulk's fist. And then underneath that you have the figure clearly displayed so you can see what you're getting, and then underneath that you have the name of the character. Then on the back of the packaging you have a picture of the figure, a little brief bio, and then underneath that all the figures in the first wave. Okay, so let's get this open and take a look at what's inside. Okay, so here's a look at the figure outside of the packaging. Now, this version of Hyperion is in his more classic yellow and red costume. It's not the costume that he currently wears in the pages of the Avengers. But this is the same costume that we saw with the recently released 6-inch Marvel Legends version of Hyperion that Hasbro released. In fact, these figures are very similar in looks. They're not exact, different. You know, the face sculpt seems to be a little bit different. The hands are sculpted a little bit differently. The 3 1/4 inch figure has two open sculpted hands, whereas the Marvel Legends had one closed fisted hand. But for the most part, you know, the figures look very similar. For paint apps, we've got red for the main parts of the costume. Then we have a metallic gold for the midsection, which is different than what we see like on the boots, which is just a bright yellow, and then again that same kind of bright yellow is used on the cape. Not really much in the way of wash is used on this figure. He's got reddish brown hair, and then he also has that gold metallic paint used for the symbol on his chest. Cape on this figure, like with the 6-inch Marvel Legends one, is removable. Now it has two little holes and then little two pegs on the back of the cape that fit into the holes, as opposed to just one hole like on the Marvel Legends figure. And the cape is just made with a rubber type vinyl material that most of the capes we see with the 3 1/4 inch figures are made with. So Hyperion stands at just a little bit over 4 inches tall, about 4 1/4. He is a taller type character, so it's good that he's a bit taller. Here he is next to the Marvel Universe Thor, and you can see they're about the same height. Thor with his wings are a little bit taller, but for the most part they're the same height. And here he is next to Marvel Universe Captain America. You can see Hyperion is definitely taller than Cap. So the scale in this figure seems to be pretty good. Articulation is pretty much what we have seen with the other Marvel Infinite Series figures and Marvel Universe figures. He's got a ball hinge joint for the head, so he can look up and he can look down and he can look left and right with no problem, even with the cape on. Ball hinge joints at the shoulders. He's got a bicep swivel, single hinged elbows, and then swivel wrists. He's got a midsection joint, and he can look down and he can look back pretty good. So the ab crunch on this figure is pretty good. No waist swivel or anything. Ball joints at the legs, so he can do the splits about that much. He's got the thigh swivel, and he can do his legs forward pretty good. And then he really can't do his legs back. Can do them out and back, but with the way the butt's sculpted, can't really do the legs back. He's got double jointed knees, so he's got good bending at the knees. He's got a swivel at the boot cuff. Now, I think this is probably just something unique to my figure, but the foot, the boot does not seem to fit on the peg. It seems the little peg that the boot fits onto is a little warped, so there's a gap, a noticeable gap you can see between the leg and the boot on my figure. Again, I don't know if this is something that's common on all the figures, but something I did want to point out on my figure. And then he's got the ankle pivot. And he's got 2 peg holes on the bottom of his feet. So overall, pretty good articulation, and as I said, pretty much what we've been seeing on most of these Infinite Series figures. So overall, I think this is a pretty nice figure. If you like Hyperion, then you'll probably definitely want to pick this one up. I'm not a huge Hyperion fan, and to me, it's kind of a big Superman ripoff. But again, if you like this character, then I think they've done a good job with it. My only complaints: the cape has a tendency to fall off. It doesn't fit real tight on the figure, so if you just try and pose it around a lot, the cape has a tendency to fall off. And then, as I mentioned before, with my figure, there's that gap between the boots and the leg, and it's actually kind of on both of them, so that's a little annoying, and also kind of makes it harder for him to stand. But otherwise, I think this is a pretty good figure, decent articulation, and looks very true to the Hyperion classic costume. So this figure is, along with the first wave of Marvel Infinite Series figures, is hitting shelves now. It's also hitting e-tailers like Big Bad Toy Store. So if you want to pick it up, start looking now. And that's my review. And until next time, I'll check you later.